Okay, I believe it's on.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being on tonight and caring enough to invest in your training, which shows you to truly be professional, Take Shape for Life health coaches, and that you want this very much to be something that you can do well and add value continuously in your personal growth as a health coach, as opposed to it being, just a hobby and something that you're dabbling in. So we all appreciate very much you investing this time. And Sherry, thank you so much for, for our fearless leader, trusting Sherry and I to try to pitch hit. We'll do our best, right, Sher?
Thank you, Malka. And you look like a kid.
What we're going to speak about tonight first is to go over, those of us, I hope all of us are enrolled in Take Shape for Life University. And Donna, I believe that you were going to share 2 minutes on this week's leadership call. So why don't we start off this evening's Zoom call with you, Donna?
Well, I thought that I was going to talk about the week before. The one week was all about how important it was to come to convention, and it did speak to me because I think it was Brian that was also talked in the beginning, was saying that money and time really didn't matter. It was both a reason, an excuse not to, but also an excuse to come, because obviously you get so much out of stuff with more money and more time. And I can relate to that because last year I was just thinking, I just can't go. But I went and I have never regretted it, and learned so much. And Dr. A was talking about how wonderful that it was going to be this year, that we were going to have some new and exciting, a little bit of change, and I just, it was infectious, absolutely infectious. So, they were talking too about clients, encouraging your clients and coaches. So, and I guess that's it in a nutshell.
Donna?
Yes.
Did you listen to this week's leadership call?
Wasn't that this week's?
No.
I listened to the one where Dan Bell talked. Is that the one that you listened to?
Who listened to this week's leadership call?
I did.
Stacy, will you share with us what you learned?
Previewing the seminars that are going to be happening at convention.
Hold on, I'm having a hard time hearing. Let me see if I can get louder.
Let me see if I can do anything with my, no, okay. If I press that, it will mute me. Whitney led the call, and they had some of the people who will be giving the trainings at National speak and give a little synopsis of what they're going to be talking about, just to kind of give a little taste of what's to come. And they also told us how we can go about looking online and pre-choosing, kind of plan ahead what we want to go to when we're at National. That was the basic idea.
Excellent, thank you.
Sorry, Gary. I usually listen to the playback, and I just got mixed up with that one was ready.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. It's all good. They're both valuable.
Right.
They're both valuable. And the fact that you could share how much your business grew from making that very difficult for you investment last year in convention. I know all of us want to get as many clients and coaches on our team there as possible. It's hard to convey to someone the value of conference if you've never been to conference.
Yeah, I agree.
And Stacy, there's nothing, one of my old mantras is, if you fail to plan to fail. And the best way to go into conference is to know you can plan out that itinerary, know what's coming. I know we all plan on meeting with Gary and with Greg and Whitney for that structure. So those are very meaningful things going into conference to have in front of us. And Quentin, I believe you were going to share with us, please, 2 minutes of what you're learning, what you learned this week in Discover Your Optimal Health.
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
Beautifully. Oh, you're the loudest of the group.
Well, you know what? We got in a traffic jam, so we had to pull off, and we ducked up here behind the Oceanside Harbor, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Is beautiful. Leslie, so listen, I really want to thank you for including me on this. And not only are we reading the Habits of Health book, but I'm also listening to the audio book on Discovering Your Optimal Health. It's about 6.5 hours. And it fits real well with my kind of training in that I can ride my bike early in the morning and I can listen to 2 or 3 hours of a book and get an education while I'm getting my cardio workout. So with that said, the book is extremely well organized. I've never seen anything that has such a, one-stop shop of rich medical-based information, clinical studies, and all the information that you need to be able to to speak well and to understand the process. So it really, there's no book like that on the open market. You got to really understand that even national certification books and resource libraries don't have the kind of information that that Habits of Health have in it. And it really branches all the way from the very start to the, all the way up through the very complex. So it's extremely well put together, and I think it's probably one of the most important books that I'm going to be reading here in the next couple of years. So I speak very highly of it. You got to understand too that being a trainer, we are more or less a psychiatrist to our clients. We're more like a psychiatrist. We're the priest. We're the rabbi. We're the financial advisor. We're the the marriage counselor. We're everything to our clients. And in order to do that, we've really developed a perfect. And always use a very high level of listening to our clients, which in turn we go back and we research information and we come up with a plan of action. And then we apply this years of experience to our clients, and we work with them to get better than expected results. So in the past, we'd always have to do the research manually and be able to design workouts and nutritional plans. But in this book, it's all consolidated into one. There's nothing that I've ever seen like it, and I'm really thankful to have this as a resource. So that's my 2 minutes.
All right. Well, if that wasn't a tickler for everybody to want to open up that book and reread it if you haven't already read it, thank you so much, Quentin. That was great.
Thank you.
Quentin, I don't think we've ever met. How long have you been coaching? Is Gary your sponsor?
Yeah, 1 week.
Oh my good.
2 weeks. All right, 2 weeks.
Well, welcome
Right,
to our team. And are you coming to National Convention?
Well, we're looking to do that right now. As a matter of fact, this is all very new to us, so we've got to make plans and set a schedule.
Well, I hope we'll get to meet you soon.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Donna. Thank you, Quentin. Gary shared with me, this is really, Sherry and I, like we said, are pitch hitting for Gary, that Gary's topic for this evening's Zoom call is how we present the program to new clients and set a new client up for success. And I think we all agree that positioning what Take Shape for Life is properly from the gate when we first are meeting with clients and speaking about what this program is about is really critically important to what our then journey is going to be all about from then on out. And the most important thing I think that we all want to share when we're first meeting with somebody and speaking about this program is that this is about a lifestyle program. This is about creating health and dealing with the stresses in our life, all of the incredible things that are challenging us in our life, and finding ways to then build on habits and create more health one habit at a time. That this isn't a diet. We certainly have as one of the components when we speak to someone about this program a very, very powerful food program with the 5-in-1 Quick Start. And it's very important when we think about how we present this program and talk about it to others that we use our pre-client folder. This is such an incredibly valuable tool that all of us should study and review if we've already studied, because all of the points that we want to make sure we cover when we're speaking with a new client are really delineated on the cover of this pre-client folder. And the most important pieces of those points that are on the cover of the folder is that this is a 3-pronged program where we have the Habits of Health, incredible system that our medical director created, that we are coached in, and we want to really work one habit at a time with our clients. We're offering ourselves as a free health coach to support you all along your journey from before you get started, long past your reaching your goal. And of course, the 5-in-1 program, which is that very powerful food program that we're utilizing to help us achieve a healthy weight. And we always want to speak really about the full trilogy, that what we are offering to someone with Take Shape for Life is the ability in this lifestyle to achieve a healthy mind, healthy body, and if you choose to, healthy finances. And it's a tremendous privilege to be able to walk alongside someone. And I always say that I'm not your coach and you're here. I'm walking alongside you, supporting you, and I'll be there for you every step of the way. And I'm your partner. I'm your guide, and I've been there, so I can certainly speak from experience to help you through. But I always want to make them feel very comfortable to call me, to text me, to email me, and to know that I'm going to be there for them to support them all along the way. Sherry, how do you want to jump in how you like to position this program when you're first presenting it to someone new?
Sure. Thank you, Malka. And thank you, Gary, for positioning Malka and I to be here and letting me sit in your chair. And Quentin, I could have met you on the highway. I'm glad I missed that traffic. Anyway, being that I just actually literally came from an appointment straight here, so I just literally just met with someone and we were having the same discussion, so to speak. And, this along the same lines that, people might come to us and they might be attracted to us maybe because we have a weight loss story, or they might think, oh, you're the weight loss person, or you're the Medifast person. Sometimes we get coined that way. And that's, where we kind of say, you might come into a program like this because you're interested in losing weight, but you're going to come out with it so much more than just weight loss. And weight loss is a reason, let's say you want to lose weight, but it's not, losing weight is just like people do go into because they want to go on a diet. And then what happens, they go on a diet, diet is something you go on and then you go off of. Whereas a lifestyle is a goal where you can be healthy the rest of your life. So, when you're exposed to something that's going to be appealing to you, it's like, well, is that going to help me achieve the goal that I want, to do? Does it fit into a healthy lifestyle? Because, a diet is in and out, and the lifestyle is, it's just constant. So it's something we're always going to be aware of with every action that we have in the course of the day. And that's very empowering to us when we have that ability to make those choices of being in charge of our daily actions. So, it's pretty empowering when people hear that. I think it's, because they just think, oh, let me just do this diet you're doing, right? So they kind of look at things in a whole different limelight when you explain that, I think, and also, other than we have the trilogy, the Healthy Minds and the Healthy Body, we also have a lot of support that, again, I am, we say we're your free health coach, but we also have everyday available nutrition support, which, so we have, if we don't know the answer to a question, then we can ask somebody else. If we're not sure where to find the answers, then we always have someone else that we can kind of fall back upon, whether it's our immediate coach or a coach's coach, or we can contact nutrition support where there's a, is a registered dietitian, a personal trainer, and that we also have access to having a behavior modification specialist if we need, any further help. And we all know if everyone has an experience with talking or emailing with Nick, I highly recommend it if he has time, and try to get in there because he's great. And then we also have, we also have the MyTSFL, www.mytsfl, which is an online food journal system, which a lot of times when people first get the box and they see the quick start guide, they might just think, oh my gosh, it's so limiting. Look at all the, lean and greens. It only says this and this and that, and it doesn't even say cheese on it, or, and so I really try to emphasize that if you go to my www.mytsfl and take the tour and let's get acquainted, because there's so much more available to us than what we think. I mean, the Quick Start is great to start out with, and it's an abridged, summarized version of it, and it's helpful, but we want to really, have someone, when we want them to become fully integrated, we want to make them realize that there's so much more available to them. And MyTSFL has so much to offer in terms of, I'm sorry, my phone's ringing, I'm just shutting it off. Sorry, forgot about that. That there's blogs and forums, and, because a lot of people do like to be in touch with other people in different parts of the country. It gives them impetus, or maybe, 11 o'clock at night, they find someone they can talk to who's had a similar story or empowers them. And so there's a lot more there. There's, people who can take your measurements. And it also helps people with their accountability. Because if they're not going to be honest with themselves, then who are they going to be honest with? You know what I mean? So if you have some local, you can possibly, weigh them, so to speak, or, get their numbers. But this way, it's some way being accountable. And along the same track with the client folder system, just because recently I had this experience where, I usually talk about the MyTSFL because I know there's so much available, and I'm always excited to explain that to them, that possibly when we're doing the client folder system, maybe it's a good idea that when we are explaining this to new clients especially, that maybe we have like a check off thing, like, okay, we discussed this, okay, let's move on. Just want to make sure that you're clear on this, because it would save potential clients maybe hours of trying to make up their own food journal or coming up, with an idea. And, once they really avail themselves of MyTSFL, it's really going to help them succeed. I know I was not a big proponent of it in the beginning, and then when I plateaued at a certain point, my coach kind of got me back on track with MyTSFL, and I could literally see where I was like slipping through the cracks of not measuring out the condiments or, what have you. So it's really important to get that established from the get-go. They follow it the right way from the beginning, and they have optimal weight loss, the success in the program. So it's really, really helpful to delineate that, from the beginning. We definitely want to make sure that we go over, I'm sorry, I should have just pressed the client who's eager to speak to me.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Gary, I just want to be cognizant of the time. Do we shut off at 8:30, or are we?
Yeah, probably.
We didn't start exactly, at 5:30, we didn't start exactly at 5 o'clock.
It goes 40 minutes total.
Oh, 40.
And is there Sherry, do you have, I just want to make sure we cover what we want to cover during
Right.
and Gary's agenda.
Well, let's move into
Right,
what do you do
When we get a client started.
once a client says yes, and you take the order, do the profile. What do you do now? What do you tell them? How do they get started?
Right.
So everybody's on the same page with starting a client for their first week. Mama.
You want me to go? Okay, so it's really, we've talked a lot about systems. It's one of the beautiful things about coaching is that if we are all utilizing the same system, we're giving our clients the same support, and we're duplicable. And it's really important when we decide we're doing the program, when we get them started, that we set specific times for their eating. When they're going to eat, we know we want them eating 6 times a day. So even before their food arrived, and Gary just shared this with Sherry and I, that he does this. I have many clients who've done it on their own, but I love this recommendation that let's start even before your food arrives. Let's make those healthy protein carb choices at those set times during the day, and also start drinking 80 ounces of water a day, because these are the long-term habits of health that we're going to maintain, hopefully for the rest of our life, eating 6 times a day and drinking healthy water. we want to make sure that they're going to give us a call the night before they start their program when their food arrives so that we can go over with them.
I just want to make sure that everybody was clear on what Malka just said.
Thank you. Okay.
When somebody says yes and you got their order and then you're going to give them instructions, right?
Right.
You want to set up their eating time when they wake up, 30 minutes after, and you want them to write it down, right? And they need to know that it doesn't matter when they wake up. They just start eating 30 minutes after they wake up. And have them start their eating right now. It doesn't necessarily have to be lean and green type stuff. The goal is for them to get into that habit right now.
Of eating within 30 minutes of waking
Right. Not skipping.
And every 3 hours.
and every 3 hours.
I just
Because once the food arrives, they have to do that anyway.
Right.
So most people are ready to get started right away, but they have to wait a week, right? This is how they get started right away. And so I want that to be a practice that we all do because it's really important that they get going, you know? So eating times and get them going. Okay, thank you.
I think it is a great idea because a lot of people are worried. Can they, eat this amount of food every 3 hours? Are they able to stick to it? So this would take the fear out of, can I do something like this? Because they're already they have that habit in place, like you said. So that's a really good idea.
I just missed what, I'm on mute here.
I hear you.
We hear you, Stacy.
Did you hear me? Okay, I just missed what Gary said to write down. They're writing down.
They're eating times. They're eating times. That they should decide, this is when I wake up. They're going to eat within 30 minutes of waking. And we're writing down those times.
Okay, and
So
so
that they have that structure.
they're pre-planning when they're going to be eating.
Right.
Yeah,
Writing down the food, right?
yeah.
Yeah, writing down what they eat.
Them
The time.
to know when it's time to eat.
Oh,
Right.
just when, not what. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And
If they ask you, what should I eat? You could give them advice on, healthy snacks, but that's not the most important thing because, they're going to get the food in a week.
Okay.
And then they're going to plug in the food to what they're doing right now. It'll be a lot easier once the food arrives.
Right.
Thanks.
But it's important that they start right away.
Right. And I will
Eating
share
every
with you,
day.
a lot of people, Gary, have a hard time just getting that habit of eating every 3 hours. And most people do have access to a smartphone or they're in front of their computer. And I always make a recommendation that they set alarms. Just to remind them, I started at 6 a.m., 9, 12, 3, 6, and
Yep.
before they know it, their body will become their alarm. But that a lot of people find that to be very helpful.
Absolutely.
If the people, don't have the smartphones, they could just set an alarm on their computer, on their phones, and just getting in the habit. I mean, I always tell people, if you're an early morning, you have to run out the door, maybe like the cappuccino is a quick on-the-go type of thing. And if you're the type of person that you have time to sit and make a bowl of oatmeal, just adapt it to your lifestyle, whatever works best for you.
Right. Okay, and so then the second point was instructing them to call us before they begin so we can go over again what they're going to be doing starting day one. We will then, very important, be in touch with them every day for the first 4 days when they're on the program because that's about how long it's going to take for them to get in fat burning. So we're going to call them at 4 o'clock because that's around when that minimal calorie intake for the first time is really going to hit them. They're going to be weak. They're going to be grumpy. Maybe they're going to be very hungry. And by calling at 4 o'clock, we can really give them the support that they need to be strong and get through the day and make the recommendations to help them be successful through that really difficult time in the first 4 days while they're getting into fat burning.
I just want to add, you can text them as well. because the first 4 days, the only thing you need to know is how they feel, right?
Thank you. Yes.
All you want to know is how are they feeling, and then you know what to do based on that. Add more food is, or they're having a reaction to their doctor, but it's usually add more food. But it's important that you contact them later in the day. Okay? Do you guys do that now? For some of you who have clients?
Mm-hmm.
Dave and Stacy, you guys are muted. I don't know if you know that.
I prefer not to have the sound going while I'm not talking.
Dave, we can't hear you.
I can hear you. We can.
Either?
No.
You're very low.
All right.
Can't
I
hear
have
you at all.
to adjust my. Hold on a sec.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I definitely do that with my clients starting in the first several days. I find that Malka tells me to call everyone, but I find when I call, most of the time they don't have time to take my call, and I find I get better responses when I text. So I'm very torn in that department. I'm not sure what to do.
I recommend in the first 4 days, as long as they're comfortable with text, that I recommend text.
Okay.
Because all you need to know is, how are you feeling?
Okay.
That's it. You don't want to get into a conversation about what they ate and all that stuff. How are you feeling?
And it turns into that when it's a phone call too.
Right.
Okay.
Now, the 1 week check-in, though, should be a phone call.
Okay. And if they don't respond to your phone call, follow up with a text?
Or email. I mean, treat people the way they want to be treated, right? That's always the best.
Yeah. Okay, continue,
Mary?
Martha.
And you said like the most important thing is to ask how they're feeling, and the answer to almost everything is add more food or protein.
Yeah, because it's usually like I'm tired or I have a headache or, those are the typical feelings. And it's usually a lack of food, unless it's a medically related thing.
And I usually, if I have people working in an office or a principal out of a school or someone, they just can't access food because they're not at home, I will tell them ahead of time, maybe take a packet of tuna fish with you or some hard-boiled egg whites and have that just in case. So you have some sort of protein to eat in case you are hungry, because it's just for those first few days to get you past. Once you get into the fat burning mode, then the hunger disappears and the cravings disappear. And that's part of, when we're getting into the fat burning mode and we kind of listen to our senses, we realize that we're in fat burning when we're not hungry anymore.
And we get that wonderful burst of energy.
And also, when I text people like on day 1, how are you feeling? They text me back, I'm doing okay. I'll respond back, great. 2 more days to fat burning.
Right.
1 more day to fat burning.
Good idea.
Always like letting them know that that's what's going on in their body, that their body's transitioning into fat burning.
Great.
Okay? It's very important that they understand that.
That's great. And then after 4 days in a row of being in touch with them via phone or text, Gary's saying preferably text, we let them know, because it's all about setting up expectations right from the beginning, that we'll be in touch with them at their 1 week mark for their celebration day. And we're not in touch with them again until that 1 week mark. And then we're in communication. How was your week? What are we celebrating today? And that would be our 5 to 15 minute check-in with that
And you want
client.
to make sure that they weigh in the morning,
Right.
on that day 7. And do your best to have your clients not weigh themselves every day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that weigh in everyday people. And I said, if you're going to do that, don't count it, because you're going to have a flux. If you had a big chicken dinner the night before and you had like scrambled, obviously the next morning it's going to be different. You know what I mean? But when you have a whole week, it takes a while for all the food to digest and go through because we're not eating as much as we normally eat, right? So our whole takes time for everything, till we get to the week marker, and that's really when it counts.
That's a good thing to know for me too.
Once a week weigh-in.
Mm-hmm.
Do not focus on the scale.
Right.
Focus on their clothes and how they feel. If we could, that helps them.
Yeah.
And their behaviors, that we're eating every 3 hours and we're drinking. Yeah. And our weekly coaching calls after that should really be 5 to 15 minutes. That's how long we're speaking with our clients on their celebration day, maximum. Why do you guys think that is?
Sustainable.
Ilana?
Because if they want to become a coach, they need to know that this is something that's very manageable and you can do it with very little time. And if you're taking forever, then they'll automatically say, I'm not that kind of person. I don't have that kind of time.
Do you generally find that it actually takes that long?
5 to 15 minutes?
Depends on the person, right?
Most of my clients, it's 2 to 3 minutes, and they're off and going.
Well, then you might not be asking them good questions to get them talking. It's not just, how much do you weigh? How much weight did you lose? Great, keep it up. As a good,
How are you feeling, and how's everything going, and are you having any issues? Is there, and we talk about whatever the habit is of the week, and I try to go through the folder a little bit. But basically, beyond that, everything's fine. If they have a question, they'll ask it. But generally speaking, it's let's say 3 to 5 minutes, and we're done.
that's fine.
You're lucky.
That's fine. A lot of times, I even text people, how they're doing. Like, I don't talk to them every single week. I'll text them too, depending on what's going on. So, as long as you're checking in on them and having some level of connection is the most important thing.
Okay.
I really try to ask, and we have less than a minute, so I guess we'll wrap it up, but I try to ask my clients, did you learn anything on this week's support call? Was there anything that spoke to you? And I didn't listen to it. I'm like, well, it was great. Can I forward you the link again? Maybe this week you'll get a chance to listen to it, and next week you can share with me a good takeaway.
That's an important point. Like, I'm now starting to really recommend these support calls for people to have. It's a health call for sure, because I tell them the goal is to keep the weight off for the rest of your life. This is a call that's designed to help you do that. And when you phrase it that way, people want to do it. They're willing to do it.
Right.
So it's important that we use all these tools to integrate our clients and help them on their journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, we have 1 minute. Any questions?
I'm good.
Okay, so is going to start, the same way. We're going to start our clients all the same way, right? Eating times established, contact first 4 days, weekly check-ins, and then every week checking in with them, right?
Right.
And if we do that, then I think that we'll be able to move people forward and people will get great success.
Thanks so much.
Feel better.
Malka, Sherry. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, Jessica.
Bye.
Bye, Donna. Thank you all so much. Feel
See y'all
better.
next week.
Jerry.
Thank you.
Poor thing. Go to sleep. Chicken.